Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine. My name is Moinak and this is the part 3 of a 4-part series of WBPSC Assistant Engineer Civil 2012 paper. I have tried my best to give proper explanation to the solution in details, and also the connected questions that might be asked from a particular question is also discussed in this video. If you are new to this channel and if you like the content of the video, do subscribe and share this video with your friends who are preparing for civil engineering exams. So without wasting any more time, let's move on with the questions. First question is the frequency for audible sound ranges from. Now the range is from 20 to 20,000 hertz. The nearest option here is 16 to 20,000 hertz. The answer should be the frequency for audible sound is 16 to 20,000 hertz according to the options. Now the bacteria which consume organic matter as a source of carbon and energy are known as. The answer for this question should be chemoheterotrophic bacteria. The bacteria which consume organic matter as a source of carbon and energy are known as chemoheterotrophic bacteria. Now let us look at all the options here. Now what is photoautotrophic organisms? Now photo refers to from light. Photo refers to from light, and photoautotrophic organisms refer to those organisms that can derive energy from light and synthesize organic compounds from carbon dioxide. Now, what is photoheterotrophic? These are organisms that use light to generate energy but cannot use carbon dioxide as their sole carbon source. They require organic carbon as a carbon source. Now let's look into chemoautotrophic bacteria. Now chemo refers to from chemicals. Chemo refers to from chemicals. Now these organisms obtain energy from chemical reaction, but their source of carbon is carbon dioxide. And in cases of chemoheterotrophic organisms, microorganisms, these obtain energy from chemicals and needs to consume other organisms in order to live. So the answer for this particular question should be chemoheterotrophic bacteria. Next question is deep foundations are normally defined as. Deep foundations are normally defined as. Now there are two school of thoughts according to Terzaghi and according to Skempton. Shallow foundations are defined as where the depth to width ratio is less than equal to 1, and according to Skempton the same value is less than equal to 2.5. And in cases of deep foundation, which is asked here, the depth to width ratio is greater than 1 in case of Terzaghi, and in case of Skempton it is greater than 2.5. But as you can see, the options they don't relate to these theories as such. But in general, deep foundation, the examples of deep foundations are pile foundations and pier foundations, where the depth of foundation is much greater than the width of foundation, where the depth of foundation is much greater than the width of foundation, where, and in this option you can choose this particular option, which is greater than 4. Deep foundations are normally defined as those that have depth to width ratios greater than 4. But if they mention in the particular question, like if deep foundations are normally defined according to Terzaghi, where the depth to width ratio, then you can use these particular options. Then you can use these options. And if they mention according to Skempton, you can use these options. But if they ask you in general and the options are like this, you can the best option according to me is greater than 4. So you need to answer according to the options. The next question is which of the following bends will cause maximum head loss? Now you know the more the bend, the more the angle of the bend, the more the head loss would be. So over here in this particular question, in cases of U bends, there is a 290-degree bend. There is a 290-degree bend, and therefore the head loss should be more in this particular case, whereas U bends. So the answer for this particular question should be which of the following bends will cause maximum head loss? The answer should be U bend. Remember this thing, more the angle of the bend, more the head loss. Next question is the development of one or more local swelling on a finished plaster surface is called. The answer is blistering. The development of one or more local swelling on the finished plaster surface is called blistering. The next question is the property of steel is influenced maximum by. You know the answer, it is carbon. The property of steel is influenced maximum by carbon. If you increase the carbon content in steel, you know that it increases the strength and hardness. It increases the strength and hardness, and also if you increase the carbon content, the brittleness also increases. Therefore, the ductility decreases and the weldability decreases. So, if you increase the carbon content, these are the following changes that happen in the properties of steel. Next question is an equivalent pipe to an existing pipe or pipe network is one which. Now, equivalent pipe is one where there is equal, which is equal in head loss for the same flow rate. Now, equivalent pipe method is a method of reducing the combination of pipes into a simpler pipe system for easier analysis of a pipe network. So equivalent pipe method is used for easier analysis of a pipe network, and the answer for this particular question should be C, equal in head loss for same flow rate. The next question is the factors that influence the value of camber are. Now you know the important factors that actually influence the value of camber. It is the rainfall intensity and the construction of road surfacing. Now the camber as per IRC is given by it depends upon rainfall, as you already know. There are two types of rainfall, heavy rainfall and light rainfall, and the value of camber varies according to these two parameters as well as the surface, road surface. So in cases of cement concrete or high bituminous type, the for heavy rainfall it is 2% and for light rainfall it is 1%. For thin bituminous type it is 2.5% for heavy rainfall and 2% for light rainfall. For waterbound macadam roads or gravel roads, it is 3% for heavy rainfall and 2.5% for light rainfall. And for earth roads, it is 4% and 3% respectively for heavy and light rainfall. And you would notice here that if the quality of road surface decreases, if the quality decreases, then the camber value increases. Of course, you need to have a higher camber value if the quality of road surfacing is less, so that water does not percolate into the pavements and deteriorate the quality of roads. The next question is, in a 1:220 model of settling basin, the height of hydraulic jump in the model is observed to be 20 centimeter. What would be the corresponding height of jump of the prototype? Now you know the scale ratio is given by LR, which is equal to length of model by length of prototype, or the height of model by height of prototype, or the width of model by width of prototype, which is given by the geometric similarity. Now here the length ratio is given as 1:20. The length ratio is given as 1:20, and you just need to replace these parameters. This is the height of jump of the model and this is the height of jump of prototype. So you just need to replace the values and you would get the answer as 400 centimeter. The answer for this particular question should be 400 centimeter. The next question is, for a distribution which is symmetrical about the mean, the skewness coefficient is. Now for a distribution which is symmetrical, the skewness coefficient should be 0. The skewness coefficient should be 0. Now you know for symmetrical distribution it is also known as a bell curve or normal distribution curve. For this particular curves, the skewness coefficient is always 0. And for skewed left or negative skew, these how would you understand if it's skewed left or a negative skew curve? If the tail is on the left hand side of the mean, then it is known as a skewed left or negative skew. If the tail is on the right side of the mean, it is known as a skewed right or positive skew. So you have to answer accordingly if a different question comes. Next question is, ratio of volume of water retained by the formation to the volume of formation when it is freely drained is known as. Now answer is specific retention. The answer is specific retention. Also specific yield is given by volume of water drained by gravity drainage by total volume, and the specific retention is given by volume of water retained during gravity drainage by total volume. Also, if you add these two values, if you add the specific yield and specific retention, it will give you the porosity. It will give you the porosity. This also comes in the examination. Now, a transition curve is introduced to gradually change the. Now, transition curve is introduced to gradually change a lot of things. Most important is to change the super elevation. To change the super elevation. Let's look into a transition curve. Now, transition curves are used to change the alignment from straight to a circular portion. In the straight portion, the radius is infinity, so there is no centrifugal force. There is no centrifugal force in the straight portion. Whereas when it comes to the circular portion, a centrifugal force comes into play with a radius r. So in order to gradually introduce the centrifugal force, we introduce a transition curve in between to gradually introduce the centrifugal force between the straight and circular section. Also, we introduce transition curve to introduce the super elevation gradually, as the question has asked. This is the most important feature. And also you need to introduce the extra widening gradually. Also, to avoid sudden jerk, transition curves are used. So these are the points related to transition curves that might be asked in the exam as well. Next question is the process of putting the plane table into some fixed position so that a line representing a certain direction on the plane is parallel to that direction in the field is known as? The answer is orientation. The answer is orientation. Also, the plane table dimension is 600 millimeter into 750 millimeter. This is also asked in a lot of examinations. And also resection, intersection, traversing, and radiation. These are all plane tabling methods. These are all plane tabling methods. Next question is algae bacteria symbiosis is observed in. Now, algae bacteria symbiosis is observed in stabilization ponds or oxidation ponds. Now, symbiosis, what is symbiosis? Symbiosis is a close connection between different organisms in which they live together and benefit from each other. Benefit from each other. Now, stabilization ponds or oxidation ponds, these are large, shallow ponds designed to treat wastewater through the interaction of sunlight, bacteria, and algae. Through the interaction of sunlight, bacteria, and algae. Next question is increase in fineness modulus of aggregates indicates. Now, if the fineness modulus increases, it indicates a coarser grading. It indicates a coarser grading. Also, fineness modulus is generally used to give you an idea of how coarse or how fine the aggregate is. Now, if the fineness modulus is more, it indicates that aggregates are coarser. If the fineness modulus is less, it indicates that the aggregate is finer. Also, you should know the range, the fineness modulus range for these particular cases. For fine sand, it is between 2.2 to 2.6. For medium sand, it is between 2.6 to 2.9. And for coarse sand, it is from 2.9 to 3.2. This is the fineness modulus range for these three cases. Next question is for the upstream face of an earthen dam, the most adverse condition for stability of slope is the most adverse condition for stability of slopes in cases of earthen dam is for the upstream faces sudden drawdown. It is sudden drawdown. Next question is in the slope deflection equation, the deformation is considered to be caused by. Now, in case of slope deflection equation, the deformation is caused by bending moment only. It's caused by bending moment only. Now, these are some other points that you need to know about slope deflection equation as well. Now, it is based on the superposition principle. It is valid only for smaller magnitude of deformations, and only effect of bending is considered. Only effect of bending is considered, and all the shear and axial forces are neglected in this analysis. So the answer should be bending moment only. Bending moment only. Next question is the hydrometer analysis is performed to determine. Now the hydrometer analysis is performed to determine the grain size distribution or the particle size distribution. Also, you should remember these things about hydrometer analysis. It is used for fine grained soil passing 75 micron sieve. The hydrometer is calibrated at 27 degrees centigrade. Also, the range of hydrometer is from 0.995 to 1.030 gram per cc, and the dispersing agent that are used is sodium hexametaphosphate and sodium carbonate. Remember these as well. These are asked in the examinations. Next question, the three important E's in road safety are, the answer should be engineering, enforcement, and education. The answer should be C, in engineering, enforcement, and education. Now, engineering refers to the design part, The education refers to the road safety campaigns that the government organizes. Also, the enforcement part refers to the penalty for not following rules. The penalty that the government charges you for not following rules of road safety and the traffic violations that you make, that is enforcement. So these are the three E's for road safety. The next question is a silty soil of high compressibility is represented as. A silty soil of high compressibility, silt refers to as M. Now, silty soil of high compressibility is represented by MH. Next question is the water-bound macadam derives its stability primarily from. Now, the answer should be it derives its stability from aggregate interlocking, particle friction, and cohesion. Aggregate interlocking, particle friction, and cohesion. Now, in waterbound macadam roads, the pavement base course is made of crushed or broken aggregates, mechanically interlocked by rolling, and voids are filled with screening and binding material with the assistance of water. You should also remember that waterbound macadam roads or waterbound macadam is a type of construction and not a material itself. Macadam is the name of a person who invented this type of construction technology or methodology. Next question is for a barrage or barrage, the exit gradient is independent of. For a barrage, the exit gradient is It's independent of, the answer should be the depth of upstream cutoff. The answer should be depth of upstream cutoff. Now, consider this a barrage, and this is the downstream cutoff, this is the head of water. Now also you should remember this, according to Khosla, the exit gradient is given by h by d into 1 by pi root lambda, where lambda is equal to 1 plus root over 1 plus alpha square by 2, and alpha is given by b by d, where b is the total length of horizontal floor and d is the depth of cutoff. The downstream cutoff, it cuts off the seepage, hence it is called a cutoff, right? Now the next question is interception loss is. Now the interception losses are maximum towards the beginning of a storm. It is more at the beginning of a storm. So the answer should be C. Interception losses more at the beginning of a storm. Interception loss. Now the precipitation that does not reach the soil and is intercepted by the vegetable cover is known as interception losses. It's known as interception losses, and it is more at the beginning of a storm. The next question is, in 1 cubic meter of cement concrete at 1 is to 2 is to 4 to be mixed by volume, the number of cement bags required would be about. Now the ratio of cement is to fine aggregates is to coarse aggregates is given here, that is 1 is to 2 is to 4, which refers to as M15 concrete, right? M15 concrete. Now dry volume of concrete is given by 1.54 times the wet volume, is given as 1.54 times the wet volume. So the answer, sorry, the dry volume is 1.54 meter cube, is 1.54 meter cube. Also the ratio of cement is to fine aggregates is to coarse aggregate ratio is, let us take it as x is to 2x is to 4x. So the volume of cement required, is x by 7x into the total volume, that is 1.54. The answer should be 0.22 meter cube. Not the answer, but the volume of cement required is 0.22 meter cube. So the total number of cement bags required is given by total volume of cement by volume of one bag of cement. Now you know the volume of one bag of cement is given by 0.0347 meter cube, and the total volume of cement is 0.22 meter cube. So if you calculate, the answer would come out to be as 6.34. So the right answer should be 7 bags of cement is required for this particular mix. And you don't have any option of for 7, so the nearest answer is 6. The nearest answer is 6, but if you have an option of 7 bags, the answer should be 7 bags, because you have to open the 7th bag in order to make this mix or create this volume. Next question is, soils carried by water and deposited along a stream are called, alluvial soil, Also, the other soils that are mentioned here are lacustrine soils. Now, lacustrine soils are soils carried by river entering a lake, deposits all coarser particles because of sudden decrease in velocity, but the fine-grained particles moves to the center of the lake and settles when the water becomes still. Just remember this part. Soil deposits in lakes are known as lacustrine soil, simply. Next question is marine soils. Marine soils are soils that have been formed by sedimentation of soil particles in the deep sea water. And also, colluvial soils are loose, unconsolidated sediments that have been deposited in the hill slopes, due to various reasons like rain wash, etc. Just remember this part and you would know that this is a colluvial soil deposit. So the answer for this particular question should be alluvial soil. So these were the 25 questions, and this was the part 3 of a 4-part series of the 2012 WBPSC Assistant Engineer Civil paper. I hope this is helpful for the students who are preparing for this particular exam and other similar civil engineering exams as well. So if you like the content of this video, do subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends who are preparing for similar exams. Stay safe, everyone. Study hard, but study smart. Thank you.